Um, Wait till you're on because we already have people in chat.
We are on now, Joe.
Well, random idoit, not idiot, but a idoit. Random idoit says, "Sorry, I can't stay. It's my bedtime and I have to sleep."
I had a real problem with the word idiot when I was a kid. Like, I couldn't read it properly. I had this Home Alone, um, like little children's novelization thing of the movie. That's like half pictures from the movie, and he calls people idiots several times in the book. But I kept reading it as I dot, and I was so confused because I had no idea what the hell an I dot was, but that's just what I read.
Well, I'm assuming that random IDOT must live somewhere far to the east of us because it's only 7 o'clock for me, which doesn't feel like a bedtime.
Yeah. So
Whoops.
so here is
Appreciate you popping in, even if it's just to say goodbye.
so here is what I'm gonna be painting tonight, Joe. I've got some snow troopers on speeder bikes that I had got 3D printed up to add to my Blizzard Force here. So,
Oh, one thing I think you need to hold them slightly lower in the frame.
well, yeah, I was sort of like, yeah, you'll see, I moved them. Um,
Also, if you didn't figure it out already, you can set a custom focus, so
it
it's not
already
focusing
is.
on your.
It already is set. Like,
Okay, it looks like it's focusing on your mat.
yeah, it's on me here, but it should.
Are those all like 100% custom guys, or is it kit bashed or what?
No, they're 3D printed. They're 100% 3D printed. All except for like, I mean, the bases came from like some uh, uh, uh like the wheelie uh
The
um
wheelie big, the
yeah,
wheelie.
what do you call them?
The Droidicas.
Yeah, and then
Droidicas.
the clear stands are actually X-wing stands that I some just extra X-wing stands.
Kurt, are you there?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you,
It
Kurt.
sounds like you're coming in on like a Trucker CB radio, but yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's
It
sort of weird.
sounds like you like dug out your old like Xbox 360 headset that you haven't used in 12 years.
It should be nicer than that. It's the one I use for work, but
Well, maybe the people at your work have lower standards
Well,
than.
it does sort of sound like, yeah, like you're on a work call, not like a.
Can we role play you're at work? What sort of is the.
gosh.
All right,
Yeah,
Also,
that would be
all right,
fun.
Kurt. It's time for a daily stand up.
Yeah.
a little
what did
loud.
you work on yesterday? What are you going to be doing today? Do you have any blockers?
Well, yesterday I started on my General Grievous, so I'm gonna continue with him today.
The Shatterpoint one?
Yeah.
I am
Yeah, I'm
painting
trying
low
to.
gray.
Are you doing anything crazy with him, or doing pretty standard?
Oh, just painting him canon. As best as I can, anyways. I'm not super happy with how the stripes turned out. Also, a character who's hard to find back reference of, but I found some.
Your speeder bikes look interesting, Leo. In a good way. They look cool.
Yeah, I like the snow troopers. I did adjust the focus. Joe, does it seem to be any?
doesn't look any different than before. I mean, it seems
Well,
fine, especially
fine
once you
then.
start getting paint on it.
It's probably fine. I think the main thing would be like if it's in focus for a closer shot would be when I would care, I guess.
Yeah, so it doesn't
Like you
keep like, and so it doesn't keep like
adjusting.
adjusting back and forth. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I did like have the focus set just right before, but then I like earlier in the day, and then I closed out of Streamlabs and apparently didn't save those settings.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's when you have to set every single time.
Which is fun.
Figure out how to tweet this out also. So Leo, do you just have like one pair of those speeder bikes?
Not two pair.
Okay.
Okay, who's ready for a discussion card?
Sure.
Oh, and I told Joe already, let it, don't bring up, if you watched it already, do not bring up any Ahsoka spoilers, please.
Yeah.
Because
That's fine. No spoilers.
I have not watched tonight's episode. I decided to start rolling a new um Baldur's Gate character, and got way too involved in that and lost track of time.
All right,
What's
here's
your new character?
I'm gonna try a monk.
Oh.
I've never played a monk in tabletop either, so it's gonna be like
Me
a whole
neither.
new experience for me.
Yeah, I hope it's well supported in the game. You know, like you have interesting items you can still get and stuff, or
Well-
like interesting monk-specific
Well-
dialogue and
well,
stuff. I assume they will.
I mean, that's also part of the reason why I decided to roll the monk is because I kept finding items that were like, when you do unarmed attacks, get this.
Mm.
I was like, none of my guys do
Cool.
unarmed attacks. All right, Joe, what's our topic? Other than
You're given a droid in real life. What would you like them to help you with?
You know, they could just do my whole job for me, and then I could have the day off. That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
that's my first thought is, okay, if you're my droid, you just do something that takes care of my income, because that's what machines are for.
And they could have a share of it. You know,
Yeah,
it's gonna be
and,
fair,
like,
but
you
I'm gonna
know,
get some.
I want to, like, play video games with them, probably.
yeah, until
Yeah, I
they
bet they
start
have, like-
winning,
I
then
might
you'll
have
be
them,
like, fuck you, droid.
I'll teach them,
You'll be like Chewie when he gets all pissed off that R2's beating him at the Jark.
I'll make them watch every single JodoCast video. They get an idea of our editing style, and then have them come on as an editor so we can have more content.
I like the idea of a droid having games built in, like BMO, basically.
You like BD1, you know how you can use them as binoculars, but it's more just like a VR headset.
I would probably have them drive me around, like be a chauffeur as well.
Yeah, especially if it's like an astromech, get an astromech slot in your car and then just have them take care of it.
It's like a designated driver, you know, take you to the bar. And you don't have to drunk drive.
Or just take me anywhere because
driving sucks.
yeah.
Or even just like go pick up food for me. Now I don't have to pay like a DoorDash driver. You know?
You know
Yeah,
what?
it'd be a fine.
I would like
fine.
him to be skilled in like like home repair handyman type shit, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, like plumbing and electrician stuff.
Yeah, it's like, which is like stuff I do know how to do somewhat, like I, but I hate doing it all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's I'm always given these projects around my house that I have a hard time avoiding because my wife knows that I know how to do it, um, but I just really don't want to do it. But if I
And
had
it
a
would just
droid,
save money over hiring a plumber or whatever.
yeah, for sure. Well, but think of all the poor plumbers we'd put out of business.
Yeah, so I think we should instead. I'll take my droid to get ahead of this problem and have it like start a bunch of universal basic income propaganda type stuff to get everybody on board with it, so that when we put everybody out of work with our droids, their lives aren't totally ruined and society can be nice.
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, well, hopefully, if we have droids doing all this shit for us, we can give sort of like a Star Trek style, like post scarcity society.
Until the droids drink some poisoned oil or whatever, the plot of that Mandalorian season 3 episode, right? We're basically talking about that planet where the droids
Oh
do
yeah.
everything until they go crazy because Christopher Lloyd uh,
Was
hates
hates people living
some
their best lives.
yeah some ideological thing that no one cares. I don't know why he did that.
Yeah, that didn't make a lot of sense, despite that being my favorite episode of the season.
Because he said he was like loyal to the royalty, but he was like trying to. It did not make any sense. Did
No,
not
I
make any
guess if you're
sense.
loyal to the royalty and you see the non-royalty people also having a nice life, that might feel unfair to you.
Well, and also I think he just sort of was sort of all like everyone's, it was sort of like a very like old man yelling at clouds kind of thing, where it's all like, oh, all the dang millennials don't know how to do any real work, and
He was some sort of like, yeah, Protestant ethics kind of person where like, if you're not working, what's the point of your existence? He was really.
Yeah, I mean,
Also,
it
he
was
probably never got invited to the parties that everyone was at, which is maybe where it all started.
basically just like terrorism, right? Like there's no direct line between like I'm gonna go kill a bunch of people in public and like serving an ideology. It's just like I want to make people scared because I don't like society, and that's about all the thought they put into it. I
Well,
feel
to be
like.
fair, the people who write The Mandalorian don't think about a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
If you want your thinking, go watch Andor.
I mean, to be fair, I mean that's about all the thought some like actual terrorists put into things. So they're like, I don't like Muslims, so I'm gonna go shoot up a mosque just cause.
All right, somebody clip that.
wow.
Ugh. How much of like the dollop stuff do you think there's just like out of context quotes like that you could do to just make them sound like horrible people?
Probably a lot. Probably every episode. Because they're always like doing the improv as the weird, terrible characters they're talking about. Glow grades
Oh
coming
shit,
along.
I
Okay.
forgot.
Not super happy with the stripes on him, but good enough. Going for good enough on all my Legion stuff now, but I might try and take a lot of time with the ATST.
What did you forget, Leo?
I forgot that I had been thinning out this contrast, like doing it like 50% medium. I was like, man, this seems like way browner than it should, and I just remembered that it's because I had been thinning it out.
Because you're trying to get them to match the ones you already did.
Yeah. Yeah, like here you can see I've got just a finished up snow trooper. And some of the stock speeder bikes with the scout troopers on them, I did in a snow theme as well here to match my snow troopers. But yeah, now that I'm looking at this, I remember that, oh, that's right, I had been thinning this out.
Oh yeah, and that scout trooper especially, it's pretty clear difference.
Well,
That skeleton horde.
yep.
What I used for some of my Ewoks, including low gray. And then I used normal paint to paint on his stripes because he's like brownish gray with light stripes. So I just painted him light and was painting on the dark parts. And it's not like the edges of the stripes aren't feathered enough for my taste, where it looks like very like somehow for once in my life I managed to make really clean edges on the line.
Well, better late than never. At least we'll get it right on the other three.
That guy just went through a patch of dirtier snow than everybody else. Or he's been around longer, so his. Do you think those parts of their armor starts out white and then just kind of fades over time?
I suppose there isn't really a good way to fix it other than completely painting over it with white again and redoing it.
Pretty much, which kind of sucks, but yeah, we'll see how he looks next to the other three, and we'll decide if I decide to go that route or not.
I might take some liberties with some of the feathers on Logray's head, because from what I can tell, a couple colorful feathers on his staff, but all the junk on his head is pretty much dark brown to black. Paint his fingers a little fleshy color. I think I might paint because I got an extra wicket low grade pack, and I'm using the extra wicket. I'm gonna be putting that one on the ATST, like hanging out by Chewbacca on top. I think I might paint it like what's her Kinisa? Yeah,
The princess
Kinisa.
girl?
Yeah,
The one
Princess
from
Kinisa with
Ewoks.
yeah, she's like really light gray with a pink cloak, and she's small like Wicket, so that might work pretty well.
Yeah, that would be fun to add some more variety and a cool little
Some of the
reference that only true fans would get.
a lot of the art, she's got more of like a cape with a hood rather than a poncho like Wicket. But in the live action movies, that's she looks ridiculous. And that one's
Oh,
just
she's in those?
yeah, but she's like some weird mage or something in a couple scenes. I think it was in the one we watched together. I might have to see if I can green stuff oh no, never mind. He's already got a hood. So yeah, I'll just paint. I won't do any modding to it. I'll just paint it with a pink color, and that'll be enough.
Oh, this is already looking better.
Yeah.
Much more like it should be.
How about Dex's Diner is famous for 6 layer cake. What Star Wars food do you want to try?
Food?
Ronto wraps.
Um,
I already try those. I make those at home all the time, thanks to my Galaxy's Edge cookbook.
Unpasteurized green milk, straight from the titty, just let.
Ironically, the Ronto wraps though in the like official Galaxy's Edge cookbook are nothing like the Ronto wraps that you actually get at the park.
I'd take a fistful of the Jawa mudhorn egg.
Suka.
Suga.
I mean, they sure seem to enjoy the hell out of it, so must be good.
It's like nacho cheese.
How about some of Cyril Karn's Cocoa
cereal?
Puffs?
His little fruity
Cereal.
I think that was Oops All Berries Captain Crunch.
It literally was like people posted like it was like a promotional like special color item that happened to be in stores when they would have been filming that.
But
I know
not anymore. Can't get it anymore. Very rare.
John Favreau. I know one time he posted the recipe to make the little like the blue like macarons that Grogu eats in what episode
that'd
of
be good.
I mean, all of these things sound like things I can just go to Target and find a version of.
Honestly, I would probably
Perfect.
try
I'm not adventurous, but if
booze,
someone's
like a
if,
Curlian Sunrise or a ruby
yeah,
a ruby Bleals. What does a ruby Bleals taste like?
if if someone's giving me Star Wars food, authentic, imported from a different universe than the one I'm currently in, I want something a little bit more exotic than Captain Crunch or macarons.
How about some nice Dagobah stew? I bet Yoda's got a lot of time on his hands on Dagobah, so maybe he like really knows how to season it. Maybe there's some
I
good
mean, Luke
ingredients in
seemed
this
pretty
one.
unimpressed by it.
Yeah,
Doesn't he put it down immediately and is uninterested? It was not enough to overcome his impatience, which means it's not anything special. How about whatever they had to eat when they had dinner with Darth Vader and Boba Fett on Cloud City? Like, we don't know what that is, but I want to see like what was that meal like? I mean, did some stormtroopers come out with some platters of food that they presented to everybody?
Some like
stormtroopers with little
Bespin.
like chef's hats or whatever.
Yeah.
Do they eat like giant floating jellyfish or something on Bespin? Maybe.
Well, isn't there like some kind of sort of like there's a sort of like a whale kind of thing, isn't there, that lives in the gas called a Beldon or something like that?
Yeah. We
Sounds right. I remember shooting them in Lego Skywalker.
we talked about this when we played through Battlefront, because you fly around them in one of the missions in the Battlefront campaign.
Don't remember that at all.
When Leo and I played through the campaign, I remember putting in a Photoshop gag of Richard Attenborough in an X-wing helmet as we were explaining what a Beldon was. I think I also mentioned how it sounds like an insult, like a British insult. Oh, you know what? I'd try Ray's little inflating bread.
Oh
Probably
yeah.
not
Ah,
that good, but it sounds fun.
you try a portion.
Yeah, a quarter portion. Or a Maguito burrito.
A Melu run. What's a Melu run taste
Oh
like?
yeah, I'd have a Melu run and a Yogan. What if a Melu run is more like a durian, where it's like smells? All right, burning through these cards. Princess Leia works tirelessly to make life in the galaxy better.
Oh, I thought that was just going to be the description. Princess Leia, go. Talk about her.
If you were a member of the Imperial or New Republic Senate, what cause would you champion?
Not committing genocide for a
Um,
starter.
Seems weak.
yeah, no, you're not going to get votes with a position like that. You got to remember. So the thing about Leia working to make people's lives better, that was unrelated to the question. Okay, you're in the Senate. All you care about is getting reelected, because that's what that job is for. The goal of a senator is to continue to be a senator. That's it.
Yeah. You know, that is one problem I do have with Star Wars is there's like too many unrealistically like altruistic senators. And
There's like three of them. We've got Bale,
yeah, like I said,
Padme,
there's too
Mon
many.
Mothma.
It's just
um,
I feel like in
probably.
practice,
Oh, go ahead.
well, Padme's altruism doesn't go that far a lot of the time. She's
She's class
not
blind.
really that good. Yeah, she's like, oh, my own employee can't afford water on Coruscant. What am I gonna do about that?
Yeah, wasn't there was a whole episode of Clone Wars when she was like awakened to the fact that like one of her helpers was like struggling financially.
Yeah, and she, from what I
She's like, so
remember,
we
she
got to
doesn't
do
really
something.
have a good.
I'm not like I'm gonna pay her more, but we got to do something.
Yeah, it's like a pretty
I'll
milquetoast
she
solution
was
she comes
probably
up
like
with,
I'll tweet out your GoFundMe.
basically. She like makes her servant like give a speech in like front of the whole Senate, like admitting to be poor, basically, is what I'm remembering, and doesn't really come up with a solution, like you said, like maybe paying her would help. No, these are all
Okay.
volunteer positions. It's an unpaid
So,
internship. That's just how it's
as
done.
a New Republic senator, I would make sure there was education so people understood that Padme actually kind of not so great. Or, you know, despite what I just said about uh, having a droid, I'd maybe put some kind of committee together to investigate whether maybe droids deserve more rights.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think that would be probably the biggest thing as far as ways to improve the galaxy. Be like, let's finally do something about this problem.
Either
The
that
way
or just say,
droids are
okay,
treated.
all droids going forward legally like can't have feelings or free will. That solves that.
They should all be like the dumb, like low level, like binary load
Yeah,
lifter
there's
droids.
no more like class 1 or class, I don't remember. The droids come in like classes based on their
Yeah.
intelligence.
Do they still? I don't know.
I don't know.
Who knows what's
Um,
canon anymore?
no way to know.
I feel like there's, I mean, it would be hard to get it to actually pass. Of course, is always the thing, but like, there's quite a lot of things you could do to improve droids. related to like, ownership rights and maybe like not having pain sensors would help. Like,
I'm,
why do they have those?
I'm pretty sure if we tried to free the droids, you'd have planets seeding from the Republic, citing planets' rights. And
I mean, probably, yeah.
It's part of our economy will collapse without droids.
Now the thing is, we would have a bigger army because a lot of droids would join up for our cause. So, but then what the people who separated from the Republic would have to do, they would need a bunch of soldiers quick, so they'd probably have to resort to cloning. I think is how it would go.
most likely sounds legit.
Knowing what I know as an outside observer, I would, as part of the New Republic, I'd be like, let's stop disarming and listen to Leia and Hera, and how about instead of employing most of these Imperials, like I'd be like, okay, how many of them did we execute for war crimes? Okay, no, let's crank up those numbers. Like, okay, sure, a lot of them were just bureaucrats doing whatever. They're whatever, but like I know where this goes, and I know how it worked in real life. Too many of them got off easy. I'd be that guy. I'd be like, hey, fellow senator, oh, you used to be an imperial guy and you oversaw this. How about I'll just, shoot you legally somehow. We need to execute him, and I get to be the firing squad guy. Or
It is like,
yeah.
it is a little depressing sometimes. Just like I know they've got to set up the First Order stuff. That's like where the plot goes, but it's like
it's also like
do, like, a
depressingly
little
like
bit.
realistic, where you just like, okay,
Yeah.
post-war, Germany, most of they literally had like a list of like 30,000 people. They're like, well, these people should probably all be executed for, some of the worst things humans have done to other humans lately.
We can't do that, then we won't
And-
have any police.
Well, they're like,
You
well,
know?
yeah, like 30,000 people is an unreasonable amount of people to execute, because we're not
Yeah.
Nazis. And they're like, I guess we'll just, give them some slaps on the wrist and only execute the worst of the worst, who also, most of them, either killed themselves or escaped before facing punishment. So I say, you know what? We've got the resources of an entire galaxy. If there's a million people on the should be executed for war crimes list, let's you know what? Let's give them their own planet, and no one can ever leave. How about that? That way we don't execute them. We'll check in on them every once in a while, see how their society's
we'll
doing.
send them to galactic Australia.
Yeah, well, except there won't be people living on this planet already. Pick one that no shitty
make
planet.
them live on Geonosis or something, right? It's like, well, you guys cleared everyone here out, so
send them to old Cannon Kessel, because that planet was a real shithole.
That's I think also part of the plot of the Last Alphabet Squadron book is one of the Imperial holdout people. The only reason he's continuing to fight, he doesn't really have the ideology, but he cares about the people throughout the galaxy who are on this list that is in a database on Coruscant, because the Emperor, sort of like had a database of blackmail on every single person he could, like surveillance state stuff. And so he's like, well, if the New Republic gets to Coruscant and finds this, they're going to have all the evidence they need to like execute or lock up, so many people, and I don't want to let that happen. Turns out,
yeah, that's
didn't have
not
to worry
fair.
about it. They just let them. They just let most of them, change the badge on their shirt and keep working.
Yeah, it's kind of a lot of work for nothing. Like, he really didn't need to do that. Vincent in chat says, official apology for the Dathomirian genocide. Yeah, I think there's like a bunch of
like
Like-
schoolyard stuff where like, okay, you have to write sorry for the genocide 100 times on the blackboard, then you can.
Like
I
I
do
feel like
like
the
the
New Republic could do sort of like reparation type things for a bunch of places that kind of got, and like obviously it was like the Empire that did a lot of these things, but the New Republic could still like be like, let's help these places that got,
yeah, and
you know, Mandalore got like nuked or whatever. Kashyyyk got like a bunch of the trees ripped out. Like let's like maybe
like
these imprisoned
reconstruction
Imperial guys can be forced to help reconstruct. Yeah, yeah, different
and
places.
um. I don't remember.
Like you can try to help repopulate Dathomir somehow. There's obviously a few of these Dathomirians left.
All right,
Like,
we
maybe
found
can-
3 of them, and we've got a bunch of Zabraks. Have at it, guys! Operation Repopulate.
It
Where'd they
doesn't
go? They're like,
doesn't need to be Zabraks.
does it not?
No, canonically, a Dathomirian woman will have a Dathomirian baby.
They're like Asari from Mass
like
Effect.
like whoever she mates with. I believe that was like the explanation when people were like, "Why are all the guys like Zabraks?" and they were like, "Oh yeah, the Dathomirians just that
Well,
it
then it
doesn't
can be
matter
like
who they bang."
well,
They're
then
like
it can be like a tourist industry. Come to Dathomir,
Oh my god.
pay 10,000 credits, and you can be part of this project.
I
Instance,
wouldn't be
like, Cal got
surprised if
started early.
yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if a half Zabrak, half human just looks like a human. As we've seen with
Half Twi'lek, half humans.
Twi'lek. Yeah.
Well, a majority of the half human, half Twi'leks we've seen have sort of that 1600s concept of what a mixed race person might look like, where there's like splotches of different colors around their skin. Because Cut LaQuane's kids, they're not his biological children, but they are half human, half Twi'lek. They have
Oh,
part Twi'lek colors. Uh-oh. Did the stream die?
no, I
did it?
was I was
Oh.
I was messing with
Light?
focus and stuff.
Oh, that actually looks much better.
Oh yeah. Yeah. A little less light actually helps because otherwise it kind of
So I didn't
It's too
actually
much.
like adjust my light. I turned down the exposure settings on the camera.
I mean, yeah, it looks better because since what you're holding is all white, a lot of those details get washed out.
yeah.
Yeah.
It looks nice. Vincent, are you assembling Shatterpoint stuff today? Or just here for the deep discussions of our current question, if you missed it, is what would you do if you were what cause would you champion if you were a member of the New Republic or Imperial Senate?
Well, I assume they heard the question because they responded with an answer.
Well,
Yeah, I assume that was supposed to be an answer.
be good at context clues. Yep, that's my pick. Harsher punishments for those who willingly supported the Empire's atrocities. Unlike real life, there is enough infrastructure to make up for punishing that many people in the Star Wars galaxy.
Yeah, there's lots of droids that can take over their jobs.
Word,
And I feel like Jedi could help with that, right? They could try to like sense the emotions and be like, yeah, this person doesn't feel any guilt.
yeah,
I've sensed
yeah. I'd
their heart.
be like, can we get Luke and Ahsoka more involved with this stuff? Because it seems like they're not doing much, and they're really good at helping. At least Ahsoka appears to be just kind of a drifter, helping whoever. Seems to be the implication when we start the show. But what's Luke
They got
doing?
a-
He's just training a baby who doesn't want to be trained.
They got a lot of time on their hands. They want to be useful.
Vincent says he's working late. He's not even painting. He's
That sucks.
painting his income.
Working late sucks. I do not recommend.
Yeah. Work sucks. I know. You want another question, or is there more to be discussed?
Other things we might do in the Senate. A cause we might champion.
Um, better internet access, because like the HoloNet is not widely available, and it's not as robust as real world internet.
I mean, here's another cause.
Actually, I disagree. They're probably better off by having less internet.
Yeah, that's fair. I think like going back to the pre-imperial days, it's like, why is no one even trying to like end slavery by like the Huts, for instance? Like, I know it's probably like complicated. You don't want to like go to war with them, but like there are probably things you could try to do to help with it instead of doing nothing.
Yeah, that's sort of.
I know we don't see every bill they pass or whatever, but it's kind of like doesn't seem like they're doing anything.
They're not in
There's-
Republic space though.
Yeah, they're not in the.
I mean,
can't-
that's a bit like, are a lot of senators in the
There's
uh,
no. US
how
senators
many
trying to
U.S.
stop
senators are trying to stop slavery, like in
Africa, like Libya, I think.
yeah, or like
Yeah, because our senators suck. But I mean, like, if you were in the Senate, wouldn't you want to be like, let's? And again, it doesn't have to be like let's invade them and free the slaves, but like there are things you could do to try and help some people,
We
right?
could just buy every slave
What could we
and
do economically?
hire. Because this would also make for a great like comic book too. Because remember, we're in Star Wars, so whatever we have to do has to be entertaining. So we
Okay.
hire a bunch of bounty hunters.
Tell that to the prequels.
We hire a bunch of bounty hunters and pay them
Sure.
all to go to these worlds that allow slavery and assassinate every single slave owner they can find, and they get paid based on dead slave owners and freed slaves. Freed
How about you
slaves are
put
worth more than dead slave owners.
like what if you put a bounty on these slaves and you're like, hey, bring me that guy. That's who I have a bounty on. Because like we can do the same thing to
Oh
the
yeah,
Huts.
bring them
Here's
in
the thing.
alive.
Because if we don't have jurisdiction to like go get slaves from them, I mean they don't have jurisdiction to come get the slaves back from us either. You know what I mean? So we just like,
Yeah,
I
we
don't
can
know,
set
that
up
guy
some kind
escaped.
of,
Sorry, underground space road.
some kind of system where we get them housed and working wherever, and yeah, just put bounties and say, hey, get this person alive, bring them to our little, intake program where we can help them have a better life.
shit. Forgot to do the Aggies.
We might need to, because a lot of the bounty hunters, I would imagine, maybe don't feel like crossing the types of people who own slaves, because that's probably where most of their work comes from. So we have to have like a off the books government agency where they're all working for us, they're all working for the same goal, but legally they're freelance bounty hunters. Right?
I like how we're talking about ways to improve like the New Republic and stuff from like what we've seen, and your suggestions are like, we need an off the books government agency.
Yeah, to kill slave owners and free slaves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
like have Ahsoka do it. Like again, she's got nothing going on.
Yeah. Okay,
I
well,
feel like we're getting into a the road to hell being paved with good intentions kind of thing, where it's like, yeah, who would have thought that our off the books
well, all of the workers have so that they are aware of the evil that they're trying to stop. We give them the slave bomb that Anakin and his mom had, so that if they, go
They-
off the mission, if they stop doing good, they explode. Blow you up. Boom. See, that's more ethical.
Why don't they put those on like the ex-Imperial people?
Yeah, and like, if they should give them all like a nanny droid too that checks on them.
Also, if you have the Mind Flayer, like, they should honestly just use it more. Like, they could have used it on Gideon. I forget the character's name, but Gideon's officer lady who's doing so much shit.
Yeah, I don't remember her name.
That's
Flay more minds.
wokeness run amok. They're too
That's-
woke to torture the ex-Imperials. That's the problem.
Shit.
Flay more minds. That's my campaign slogan.
Or gullet some people or something.
Yeah, get like a pit of boar gullets and just toss people in there, and then like pull them out with like the crane game thing when they're done. I think there's like that's something you can pay to experience.
Somewhere.
Experience tossing people into a pit of boar
No,
gullets or be tossed.
To get boar gulleted. Like, I assume Saw Gerrera is banging the hell out of boar gullet. So maybe other people would want to too. Not me.
Yeah,
a friend.
We didn't see it, but in the back room of the brothel in episode 1 of Andor, there's absolutely a boar gullet back there.
With just like eyelashes. Yeah, you just walk in and you go, boar gullet, and then somebody goes, boar gullet.
Boar gullet will know the truth.
I don't give a shit what she knows. Just give me that boar gullet.
Boar gussy. Gullet will know the truth.
One tends to lose one's mind.
I don't know if you can see just how awesome I'm doing putting the contrast down in these guys' eyes.
It's been very satisfying watching the eye.
I will say, I mean, but I'm doing this with the intent of I just come back and I clean up around there. So it's like I don't really care if I get it bad. Because I'll come back in with white. And
when I looked up, the one I looked at was like a perfect application. At least it looked like that with the focus. And I was like, that is nice.
Oh, yeah. No, if you could see clearer, it's definitely not.
What do you think will be the first game appearance of a boar gullet? As far as I know, it has not been like a crew card in X-Wing or anything like that, right? Will we get one in Shatterpoint or even like the next Jedi Survivor game or something?
My guess would be either unlimited or role-playing supplement if it's not already in one. But I mean, card game is the easiest. Card game and role-playing game, easiest spots for that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Forget about card games sometimes, I guess. Yeah, I mean, what do you think boar gullet's ability would be in Star Wars Unlimited?
Look at your opponent's hand.
And discard one. Because the probe droid already lets you look at their hands. So it's got to be slightly better or weirder than a probe droid.
Well, it also depends on when it comes out. Because, I mean, at some point, cards from this first set are gonna cycle out of play. At least like OP, like some sort of standard format.
It would be interesting though if it did something to an enemy character somehow.
Yeah, it might be like deal a damage and then look at your opponent's hand, or
Wonder if do you think they'll ever have like conditions you apply to your enemies, like they get -1 damage, like they're not taking damage, but they'll be dealing less damage.
Well, I mean, there is already
like a negative token.
There is in like that set of Gamegenic tokens that they showed off. There was -1 tokens in there.
Oh.
So it seems likely that at least there'll be something that will give that effect -1.
Try this question. You can speak Shiriwook. How do you say your name in the Wookiee language?
Not doing that.
I mean, I know probably. How about instead?
That's a good one.
You can live in the Star Wars galaxy, but there's a catch. You can't be human. Which alien species do you pick?
Duros. I love Duros.
It depends. Can I change my sex?
If you're a Hutt, maybe? I don't know if it's still canon that Hutts can, like, flip back and forth whenever they want.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's still canon. No, I don't mean, I meant, like, if I get to change my species, do I get to change my sex?
I don't see why not. There doesn't seem to be too many rules here.
I mean, because then, I'm going to be George's favorite.
Be a OnlyFans Twi'lek. I mean, my first thought was a Gendai or whatever Yoda is, or just something that lives forever, so I can like do more.
And so far, that seems to be basically
a lot.
Every alien. Yeah, they're constantly going like, this alien actually lives for hundreds of years too. Also,
there needs to be more that live for like 40 years, like Solarians at Mass Effect, where it's like, well, that's novel, an alien that has a shorter lifespan than a human.
No, seriously, what would I?
Enzellan.
Maybe I'd be maybe I'd be like a Deveranian, just because horns are
pretty metal.
Be immune to fire if that's something they all do. That'd be nice.
I
think being a Wookiee would be kind of fun. Just be like furry.
Be naked all day.
Yeah,
yeah,
nice and freeing.
Yeah,
who cares? Being an Ewok could be kind of fun. Be a cute little guy.
Depends on like, are you like reincarnated as one, or do you just get dropped in with your current knowledge? Because then you know, that'd be less fun to just be born as an Ewok as opposed to like becoming an Ewok. Vincent says, I would be one of those Force-sensitive bird guys. Who? From the Dagoyan Masters from the Clone Wars, the Jar Jar he makes out with their queen.
The ones that look like ducks?
Yeah, the Dagoyan Masters. They all have like Indian accents.
I don't remember that at all.
That's the one where Windu and Jar Jar go on an adventure in the Temple of Doom, and Jar Jar bangs the lady.
That's like, that's like in that like second to last season?
Yeah, it was part of the like the bonus season we got when it was like Netflix exclusive.
Yeah,
After
wasn't
the
that
show
the
had been
one that
canceled,
it was
yeah,
called The Last Season at the time?
I think they were called like the Lost Episodes or something. But yeah, it was the last season at the time, and then it was like, hell yeah, we not as dead as we thought. We get more episodes, and it was Jar Jar and Windu.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've never watched that one, though I do remember A More Civilized Age discussing it.
The Yoda episodes in that last season were okay.
I thought those were great because they're just so weird and like they're definitely like George Lucasy, like stuff you probably wouldn't ever
Yeah.
dare to make nowadays. Where it's like, oh, it's the four spirits, and that was their
Yoda going on a
um,
weird like vision trip.
attempt to try and bridge the Yoda of the prequels with the Yoda of the original trilogy. The one who goes, oh, maybe the Jedi need to think about some stuff. You know, the Yoda who says wars not make one great versus the one who's flipping around doing a war.
I feel like he could have just already been like that. They didn't have to.
I don't know. Still a good.
That's
That
all
was.
on George, but
It was also sort of the uh, him learning how to manifest his consciousness after death. Because like Qui-Gon was a big part of those episodes. Like Qui-Gon is like speaking to him, and he thinks he's going crazy because, you know, once you're dead, you're dead. And then Qui-Gon's like, hell nah, man, it's all good. Come to Dagobah. I'll show you what's up.
I feel like we just didn't need to have that explained. I feel like it opens up way more problems to have all these rules about it than to just be like, I don't know, some people do that. I'm like, don't worry about it.
Yeah. I honestly I don't like. I didn't like the idea. Like I liked it better when it was just sort of like that's a thing that dead Jedi and Sith do.
I like
Back in
it
back.
better than what you just said because one of the things in those episodes, that's the arc where he encounters like the wraith of Darth Bane. Um, in they were gonna have Darth Revan appear to Anakin and the Son in the Mortis trilogy, and they had concept art made for Darth
Mm-hmm.
Revan in Clone Wars, and that's when George was like, actually, hold up, let's pump the brakes here because this is cool, but like the whole point is dark side people don't get to live forever, and that's like the big irony is their whole deal is I want all this power and I want to be able to live forever, and the irony is you can't do that with your selfishness. The only way you can have this immortality is by being like selfless and not actually wanting, you know, that's not like your goal in life. And so that's why I like that darksiders just can't become ghosts in the same way. It's sort of like haunt things, but
That
Vincent
that
says
part
it's
is fine to me.
a Palor tie. Were these guys in Empire at War? It's like an eagle with big blade arms.
I'm definitely fine with dark side people like not becoming force ghosts, or not the same kind. But I mean, the main thing is it's extremely weird that it's like a technique that you have to be taught, because then when does Anakin learn it? It makes no sense. He never who taught him? He's been a bad guy for a long time. He never had a chance
It's
to learn,
I don't
so it
know.
makes no
It's
sense.
like uh you know repenting to the Lord right before you die. That's all it takes. Then you're in.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. If they just left it like that, then sure. But instead, they're like, no, Qui-Gon's ghost has to teach you.
Well, we might find out in from a certain point of view coming out because I think there's a bit about.
I hope. I mean, I just don't want. Just like don't even address it. It would be
Qui-Gon for like 30 years is like constantly bugging Darth Vader / Anakin.
Like, okay, here's
Come on, just learn this technique.
He's like
in case you turn good.
yeah, he's like, hey, on the off chance that maybe you decide to turn, or he's all like, you should come back to the light side, and Vader's like, no, and he's all like, but if you do, you can do this, and here's how.
Yeah, he's like Korg in Ragnarok. He goes, piss off, Ghost.
Where he's like, I'm going to teach you the secret technique that will bring Padme back to life. Wink. That's definitely what it does.
Mhm.
You just have to meditate the specific way.
It's
And,
like, oh shit, for real, dude? All right, let me try it.
I did like the details we got about Force Ghosts in, was it the first FACPOV where we had like Qui-Gon kind of like learning to be a Force Ghost, but like he can't control it very well, and he's like kind of fading in and out often, and like
Yeah, and it's also
oblivious to
like,
the world.
Yeah, and
yeah,
it's
he was
like
almost. I
annoyed
don't.
that like Obi-Wan he like senses that like Obi-Wan needs him, and he's all like, I guess I gotta go deal with like corporeal world shit.
Right. I love that.
Yeah, and it also seems like he's maybe it was in the second one. There might have been a Ghost Obi-Wan thing where he's just.
Yeah,
No, I
maybe
think it
that's
was
what
in
I'm
the
thinking
first
of.
one when the story. There's one where Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are talking, but there's another one in there where Obi-Wan dies, and it's sort of like he
Yeah,
exists
he's
out
like
of
getting
time at
used
that
to it.
point, and he's like
Yeah, yeah.
experiencing like, you know, existing
Sort of
where time is
dissociating.
meaningless,
Yeah.
and also how that sort of like makes you less involved in the real world when it's also
Yeah, you're
sort
not
of
attached
trivial.
anymore. Like that's interesting Force stuff to me. Cause that and I kinda like I feel like that leans into more of the like Buddhist influences in a way where it's like, okay, there's some interesting spiritual ideas going on here that we don't normally really see that much in Star Wars.
Yeah. Ogre has black fingernails.
He's goth.
Does wear a skull on his head.
Yeah, that is
Fair.
pretty fucking metal.
There's like these like Ewok like screamo bands or something.
Yub nub. I did see
I bet there's a metal cover of the Yub Nub song out there somewhere on the YouTubes we could find.
Statistically speaking, I'm sure.
um there's a I was reading Pablo's tweets today, and he had one that was wondering who you must be able to hear a bass in the new Ewok song, you know, the 97 special edition song
The
without
awful
lyrics.
one?
Yeah, that one. You can hear a bass. So he was like, I wonder who the bass player is in the Ewok band. Because it's still like an in-universe song. So now I like to think that there's an Ewok out there just slapping the bass.
I think that's fair. I mean, they could make like a giant cello type thing out of redwood wood, you know, and like you
Like
have to like
a
swing on a vine to
like
be
a
able to pluck
tub,
the string.
like a tub.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about.
yeah, like a wash tub,
Yeah,
whatever, in like a jug band.
Man, I want an Ewok jug band. One guy puffing on the
like
moonshine
like
jug.
yeah,
Yep, jug.
like some
Yep,
Ewoks
jug.
in like overalls and stuff. That actually sounds awesome.
Oh, Vincent
What
says
if?
the Talor tie show up in one of the Higher Public books. Must have been a species I just like didn't bother looking up as I was reading it. 'Cause I am not familiar with those guys at all.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to remember. Like if you don't recognize the name, I feel like
Actually, now that he says
Alphabet
that,
Squadron threw some weird names like that around, and like if you don't know if it's new or existing.
yeah, I think now that you say that, I think I do remember looking them up when I was reading one of the books because I was like, huh. When you said like eagle guys with like blade arms, I was like, oh, that sounds like vaguely familiar. Because I think
How about the
saw the name when I was reading and was like, what the fuck are these guys?
like I'd probably have to pick a humanoid species because that's how I'm used to existing. But there's like a cool species in Higher Public that's basically just like jelly in a spacesuit, which is fun.
It
Or
would be cool
maybe
to
maybe
be.
somebody with extra arms.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Like one of the forearm species, a basilisk or one of those other ones.
Basilisk could be cool
Uh,
because then you'd be,
Latero.
you know, strong, nice to, you know, if you're a Latero or like a an whatever John Favreau in Solo is, the four-arm monkey guy. Like, then you're a little guy. People are gonna kick you around if you're a
It'd be kind
Basilisk.
of fun to be a
It
little
could be
guy.
what's it? Is it a Zexto? Is that like
Yeah, Sexto.
the little guy, the little pod racer guy,
Pod
the
racer guy.
fluorescent pod racer?
Ooh, what species is Fudd saying?
Oh,
I
I
think he's
thought.
unknown
Yeah,
species.
yeah, yeah. Pretty sure he is not known, but
He's a unique species. There's only one of him in the galaxy, and he just
he's
seems to
a
Yeah, he
exist.
like
he's a collector's
this
one of one, printed by
this
Wizards
like
of the Coast.
evolutionary steps that go from like single celled to multi-celled intelligent life on one planet somehow just went from 0 to 100 real quick, and that was it. It was like a one-off, and he had no one to reproduce with, so he's like, oh, I guess this is me.
He's like really grossed out when he sees like couples in the galaxy. He's like, oh, that's so perverted.
Or he's like, maybe there's only one at a time, and it reproduces when he dies. The next one grows out of his corpse as a new
That's fun.
individual.
Yeah, I like that. Would be cool. That'd be a cool Star Wars species.
I swear,
Let's make that canon.
I swear, I read like a sci-fi story one time where there was a thing where it was like this guy was the only one of his species like ever born, but he's like also like functionally immortal. So like he just has to like spend all of eternity alone.
The
Be kind of nice though.
Just
reminds me of in Hitchhiker's Guide. There's the guy who's um, immortal, and he, as you do when you're immortal, you find out that eventually you run out of things to do, I guess, and he uh, dedicates his unending existence to insulting every person in the galaxy in alphabetical order. Because there's that part in the book where Arthur's like trapped. He's like stranded on a planet waiting for
oh yeah,
Snape.
and the guy just shows up and he's all like,
Yeah,
"You're
he's
a
like, "Oh my god, I'm saved!"
you're a
And
like you're a real prat, Arthur Dent," and then leaves.
yeah, he's like, "Oh my god, somebody's finally found me." Also reminds me of a movie I watched a long time ago called The Man from Earth, who was
That's
such a strange movie, which was
is that the where they're just standing, where they're just like in a room talking. That's all
Yep,
it
the
is. Like
whole
the whole
movie.
movie.
Like the going away party for some faculty member at a college, and the whole movie's just them chatting, and over the course of the movie you find out that the guy who's going away is immortal, and he is in fact Buddha and Jesus and a number of other figures. And they're like, what?
Have you read the did you watch it in a class at NDSU?
No, I just watched it on Netflix one time.
Because that's where I saw it. There was like I took like a film class at NDSU, and that was one of the movies we watched.
Sounds like it might be for like a philosophy or religious studies thing.
But there's in the Invincible comic, there's one of the superheroes. His name is just Immortal, the Immortal, because that's his superpower. He's immortal, and he's strong too. He maybe can fly. I don't think he can fly, but he's strong. But his main power is that he's immortal. And at one point, he's talking about how he sort of pulls like a the what's the name of the superhero from or Metro Man in Megamind, like where he sort of like fakes his own death and goes into hiding just because he's sort of sick of being a superhero and stuff after living a life so long. But he's like talking about how much it sucks to have lived for so long, and it's like he was like Caesar, and he was Abraham Lincoln, and all
Okay.
kinds of um he was like just like all kinds of different famous people throughout history.
Marilyn Monroe.
Yep. But that's coming out pretty
It would be
soon.
funny to have a character whose superpower is immortality, but that's it. Like, it's just like a normal guy. Like, okay, maybe he's athletic and knows how to fight, but like,
There is a guy
yes.
like that in Marvel Comics. His name is Mr. Immortal.
Oh, this is the guy from the She-Hulk show.
Yeah, yeah. He's very different in the comics. So, but yeah, yeah. He was in the
I don't
She-Hulk
remember
show.
this character.
Did you
Uh,
watch She-Hulk?
Yeah.
he was like the guy who he had
Being
been
sued.
Stalking her?
being no, he was
No.
being sued by his like multiple different wives he's had.
Yeah, because he marries people, fakes his death, and moves on, and then they all found out that he's actually can never die, and so they want,
Okay.
like
Yeah,
his money
I
and
remember
stuff
that now.
because I think he ends that meeting by jumping out the window.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. He like lands on a car or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Like in the comics, um, it's he's part of the Great Lakes Avengers, which
Okay.
is it's sort of like it's a
Prestigious organization.
extremely it's a bit of a joke comic that it's about a bunch of like really like F tier superheroes who form their own Avengers team based out of like Michigan called the Great Lakes Avengers. But yeah, at one point in the comics, so they like do like a flash forward with this guy, and it's like he's still alive at like the event, basically like the end of the universe, and he's like just like totally nuts because he's like the only person still alive and is just like like
Yeah,
witnessed so much.
being immortal would definitely be more interesting if you had an interplanetary society to be a part of. If you just Earth immortal, it's all gonna run out eventually, and you're gonna be, stuck floating through space or whatever.
Yeah, I was really surprised when Mr. Immortal showed up in She-Hulk. I was like, wow, that is a heck of a deep cut right there.
Feels like there were a lot of, at least I assume a lot of those characters were existing characters, like the
Frog
old
guy.
guy and stuff like that.
The
Yeah.
Who? What guy?
Isn't there like a Minotaur type guy?
Yeah.
The frog guy. I'm still a.
Oh man, yeah, the frog guy was great. I love that they brought out Frog Man.
I'm still a little annoyed at the ending of that show. Not for not having an action fight at the end, but for needing to like talk down to its audience so much. Like, okay, we don't want to have a big finale action fight because this isn't, So instead of just doing that, we will take the whole episode to explain to our stupid audience how it's okay to have a story end in a not action fight way because they're dumb and they won't know what to think if we don't explain to them why this is fine.
I thought it was really great, personally. Also, like
It just felt like they think their audience is stupid and will like
I don't think it was
consciously
that.
reject this if we don't explain to them why we wrote it this way.
And also, I felt like it was, kind of true to the She-Hulk comics because there's a lot of fourth wall breaking in the comics as well.
Yeah, I don't mind the fourth wall stuff.
Yeah. Also, like
just felt like
a very famous She-Hulk arc really does end basically the same way, where she shows up in the comics writers room and yells at them all.
Weird. She ever like hang out with Deadpool?
Not really.
That's good. That I feel like it would get old fast.
Yeah.
She was doing it before Deadpool was.
Yeah, that doesn't mean it won't get old. Like at least in the show, for the most part, it was like just kind of like okay, I don't mind like the side commentary to the camera, like it's kind of fun. But
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like it was like a very large ramp up in the fourth wall breaking. That was a little jarring. Like I liked some of it earlier in the season, but this was like going way further, like way faster. I was kind of like, I kind of liked it because it was kind of interesting and surprising and as good as it could have. It's like
I
a little bit of a cop out.
Yeah, and I guess I personally liked it just because it you know, he you complain, you say like, oh, they were acting like the audience was so dumb and stuff, but there was a huge chunk of the internet saying all that exact stuff that she comes out and critiques right there. I mean, so I thought it was like a really like the perfect kind of on the nose kind of thing.
Do we know, is there going to be another season or is it one and done?
I don't think that they've said one way or the they haven't announced a second season as far as I know. I mean, so there's always the possibility of more, but I don't think they've announced one way or the other.
I think it would be cool because I liked it overall. I have a lot more fun with a humorous Marvel thing than a serious Marvel thing. Vince did post on the Discord Yub Nub
oh,
Ewok song hardcore version.
oh, um,
I'm not going to listen to it right now on stream,
yeah, I'm gonna have
but
to.
it
I
might
mean,
be
I
kind of like
could
what we were
start
talking about.
the group YouTube thing activity, and then it would come through on the stream too. Not like we care about this particular stream as an ad source. I think low gray might be done.
Wow.
Aside from his
Legacy is pretty
face, I'm
small.
doing. I did started him yesterday.
Even still, like it's always really amazes me just how quickly you manage to paint your shit always.
Yeah.
I mean, this is partially because I'm also like the slowest painter I know, but
I have to put the matte varnish on him eventually. Some spots look weirdly glossy from parts I use some contrast paint on.
Joe, are you going to paint the Cad Bane and etc. stuff that's coming out this Friday right away, or you need to finish your Ewoks first?
I'll probably put Cad Bane to the start of the list. Front of the queue. That is if I pick it up this Friday. Fifth Trooper seems to have stopped stocking Shatterpoint stuff. So I'm gonna have to find
Already?
a local place I choose to buy it.
It just
I think the
you think they don't want
Arcana.
to sell it, or
I think he's been busy and keeps forgetting that he
yeah?
should stock it. The new store in town, the Sanctum Arcanum or something. I heard that they
Oh,
sell them for 15% off or something. So
whoa.
check that out. But also, it's like a weird secret store because they don't have any signage yet because they're new and they like not allowed to like put out like a temporary sign based on like whatever little strip mall they're in or something.
You need like a password to get in.
Or I might just buy it from. I don't know. I probably either have to buy it there or Miniature Market. I'd like to buy it from the place I am running events at now, but it's like I don't want to pay full price when I have an option to get $10 or more off.
Yeah, I mean that could really add up.
Miniature Market's selling them for $40. And if this local store is selling them for less than that, then I'll do that. If
Yeah.
Fifth Trooper's not gonna put back in stock. I haven't even picked up Windu and the Night Sisters yet, which I plan on doing. Night Sisters look fun to paint. I like painting red.
Yeah, did you see the one I retweeted earlier?
Yes.
That was one of our followers or someone had. That one looked pretty good. I'm not personally super interested in them, but
I want
they looked good.
Savage to. I'm like interested in playing with Savage, but I think they look like they'll be fun to paint at the very least. Yeah, I need to get some basing stuff and then do all these Ewoks at once.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna buy any more Shatterpoint until like Phoenix Squad comes out.
Not even the Luke pack.
Luke and Vader.
Nah.
You have enough Vaders and Stormtroopers and stuff.
Not even Boosh, Leia, and Lando in this disguise.
Yeah, you
As
love
Tam
Lando.
Tel Scree or whatever.
And drink bartender R2.
Okay,
I'm really curious what his stats are going to
Bartender R2 actually would be kind of cool to have. But I don't. Yeah.
R2.
I just Shatterpoint is like okay, but it's like it doesn't quite interest me enough to just want to go buy random stuff. Like I'm not even looking at what their gameplay stats are or anything for different units. It's just sort of a like this is a thing I would like to paint and have on my shelf.
Did you end up getting your second league match in?
Yes, I did. I won this time.
Nice.
Although it
I
might
had
have
a
been different
bye.
because there was one time my opponent did not shoot at me because they were like, well, probably don't have line of sight anyways. And I was like, well, you like almost always
do.
you almost always have line of sight, but I didn't really say anything. I was just sort of like, well, if you want to think you don't have line of sight, that's fine with me.
I had a bye, so I haven't played in a while, and they have not posted the new pairings yet.
And I've got
play each other.
I got Legion League game tomorrow for the surprise starting league. The league that's
So that's starting at 400 points?
apparently. Like he didn't also in the signups he didn't post that it was gonna be they didn't say that it was gonna be an escalation league either. Well, this is what happens when the store just lets random people run the leagues instead of letting me run them.
Yeah.
I'm excited to try a Shatterpoint event with the whatever they call it, whatever rules they have. The event where you have to bring 4 squads, and then
use them each once.
You have to use them at least once before the event is over. Okay, let's paint a wicket.
Here's stuff.
Yeah.
What am I looking for?
To do low
Apothecary white. Oh man, that's getting real low.
Low grays fur with mostly.
Oh, I get another one. Good.
Ugh, stupid cricket. You Google Wicket, and the Ewok is the second result, and a stupid cricket wicket is the first result. Wicket has a gray face and gray ears and a gray tummy.
Reminds me, I need to get working on my Wicket drawing I'm supposed to be working on. I need to put some more time into that.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was a thing.
It's gonna be for you October or what? I
Yeah.
I need to.
The worst thing about contrast paints is having to shake these damn things for like an hour before you can use some of the colors.
I guess I'll still do subs for Yub Nubs, but if I don't end up going to Worlds, it's gonna not.
As long as you make a good video, you know. I think
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'll be
You,
like,
I don't
well,
know. You got the invite, right?
I have an invite.
Whether it's valid or not, you're not sure.
Correct.
whether the doorman will let you in.
Fun. I'm looking at a Black Series Wicket, and he's got like it's like double fisting clubs, barrels.
Like Rambo Wicket. Getting revenge.
See, a lot of the plush wickets, his lighter colors are lighter. Figure out just how light do I want to make the lighter parts of his fur? Are they going to be a cream color or a light gray? Painting Wicket would be this hard. I think I'm just going to go over his fur with the snakebite leather contrast paint I bought. I think that'll be good enough. And then the rest of it without contrast paint.
You know, I was joking about Rambo Wicket, but it would be. Oh, they don't have any bows. Ah, man, if they had bow Ewoks, it would be kind of fun to give one a bandana. But yeah, they don't have any.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that they have bow wielding stuff on the cards, but none of the minis have bows.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
surprised it's not a heavy upgrade or anything.
Yeah, hopefully we just get like another like, unit down the line that's Archer Ewoks.
Maybe it doesn't seem like they're.
Yeah, it seems like this is
Really?
kind of this is it for Ewoks.
Yeah, I mean, because there's also possibilities for like those little catapults they had, or like
yeah.
Glider guy, I want the
gliders.
glider guy.
Yes, that would be awesome. A glider squadron, even. They've already got overrun attacks, right? It's basically an overrun. It's like if you fly over these guys, you will drop rocks on them, basically.
That's how it works in Star Wars Miniatures game. The glider guy gets to do 1 damage to every mini whose space he passes through.
Well, see, now they can't do that because people just accuse them of copying Watsy's homework.
Should get a custom 3D printed 3PO in the chair mini.
Yeah, that would be cool. It would also be cool. I wonder if you can get good, like. Maybe you could just sculpt them, but if you could get like 3D printed fruit, like from the Ewok game, to put on their base, kind of as like a nice little in joke to another game, you know. Real gamers will know.
Yeah. It's too late, but I realized I should have. So I did the little ponchos of my Ewoks in red, orange, and green. I should have done whatever colors are in that Ewok Save the Trees game. of the player pieces. I think it's probably like
Probably like red, blue, green.
yellow.
Yeah, that would have been fun. Guess you'll
Well,
have to buy even more squads to do that.
I mean, I've been intending to buy more, but they're out of stock on Fifth Trooper. And I mean, this pack is like $40 or whatever. It's only so many $40 Ewok boxes I'm willing to buy.
Have you heard anything about, I guess, like the meta or whatever? Like, are a lot of people using Ewoks? Are they like popular? Are they doing well?
I have no idea. I haven't heard anything. I don't think people are using them. The one game I played with them, I
Too bad.
won, but I think it was an anomaly. I feel like I think Tempest Force is like a hard counter to Ewoks, rather than weirdly it should be the other way around.
Yeah, I thought that's
Yeah.
what I remember seeing, is that they kind of smack Ewoks around.
Makes sense.
I'm planning on trying to get a game in on Thursday.
Nice.
Even if I'm not done painting these guys, I'll put them on the table. They'll have enough paint to be more interesting than the last time I played them. I don't know. I only have 3 things at Ewoks, and I made one of them the slingers and 2 of them the spears. And I don't know if I'm gonna get any more because I think I might like one more slinger, and like you maxing them out seems like fun visually, but I really like having you need the ATST and then
Some heroes.
right, because I like having Wicket, Logray, 3PO, Han, and Leia, which is 5 commanders, which is very fun. And all those commanders are very good. Except 3PO, he's kind of whatever. But
The only thing I see a second there is it sounds like you've got all those dudes, and it's like you're kind of missing out on a lot of really cool command cards and stuff because you can
that's
only
what I was
pick
gonna
so
say.
many.
It's hard to make
Like,
a
which
command
ones?
band.
Which ones do you even take?
One of each. One of each, and then standing orders. There's your. Oh wait, no,
Remember right.
you still could have one more. So
Took the some of the Ewok ones. The Wicket ones are pretty good, especially the one that gives her teamwork with Leia. And
Yeah.
then I like the Chewbacca card, Brains and Bronze, that says when Leia goes, you can add one of Chewbacca's weapons into her dice pool because he's in an ATST.
It works with the ATST. Oh my god.
That's pretty
wild.
nice.
can you do it on her bombard attack too?
No, because that's a different
It'd
command
be a
card.
different round. Yeah.
Oh right.
I like bringing that card, the coordinated bombardment, and I like bringing the log traps. That's pretty good too, because it's similar to bombardment, where it's this big, heavy attack at range 4.
I feel like they need to give us like print and play cards for like a bunch of cool. It'd be cool to have like more team up command cards with some of these hero characters,
Yeah,
like obviously like Leia and Han, or like different stuff like that.
They could do print and play cards of just units too, like
yeah,
like Han on a Tauntaun. I feel like that should have come with Echo Base.
Yeah, Han.
So what do you guys think about no X-Wing at Mini Stravaganza? I mean, I'm not surprised there's no Armada, but I was a little surprised there's not at least even one single X-Wing panel.
It's sad because like what else is even like announced or going to come out? I don't think there's.
I think the Star Wing is the the
yeah,
that's
just
the
reprints. Those are so uninteresting to me though, because they're not coming with like even new pilots or upgrades or anything. So it's like, it's just like too little, too late. Like that feels like one way they really kind of screwed themselves on second edition. Like as much as a lot of it was good for the game in a lot of ways, the fact that they have to set themselves up for these like infinite reprints with no new stuff, it like completely eats up their production like
Was there
pipeline. It feels
no
like
new things in second edition that didn't exist in first edition?
there have been all the prequel stuff. Um,
There's
Like the
been
and a lot of
Mandalorian
it,
ship. Yeah, there's been a lot of it.
yeah, that was all like the most interesting stuff to me. But at this point, those seem to be dried up. We got the clone Z95s and P38s, and nothing new has been announced since then. It's all been the Siege of whatever packs and second edition reprint type stuff.
Yeah, you just get like like a box full of pilot cards and
Yeah. There's been a couple like hotshots and aces, like some new pilots for old ships, and like I get like the reprints are necessary. That's just kind of what they have to do for second edition. But those are not useful to me. I've already got ships and I've already got the conversion kits, so it's like none of those releases get me excited about the game, and so they're just kind of depressed. But again, they don't even have that many of those even. Yeah, Starwing must be the only. I'm probably wrong, but it feels like the Starwing is the only
I think that's the
thing on
only
the schedule.
for next year. Yeah, I think that's the only thing.
Yeah, those new like faction starters came out, I think, didn't they?
Yep.
Yeah, I think those just came out for Rebels and Empire. And someone out there's buying those and using those to get in the game. That's great, but again, it's not anything that's going to get me excited. I would be tempted to buy it if it like also came with some new stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's just like quick start cards or something. I don't even know. Like there should be stuff to get excited about. Like if they were, it feels like they're not. I don't know the internal workings of them, but it feels like they don't have anyone there that's like championing. Like let's get some cool new pilots and ships. Like why not doing a
Yeah.
Ahsoka tie-in or something? You know what I mean?
Now,
Like
I
or
mean,
more Mandalorian tie-ins. Like there's ships out there they could be doing, and I'd be like, cool, I want to get that.
I'm hoping it's just the thing where it's like, all right, legions
Filling out that pipeline for years ahead or something.
legions are big, you know, our big baby. We can't ignore that. So that's going to be in mini extravaganza. And then Shatterpoint is our new baby, so there's going to be a lot of focus on that. And then, like next year after Shatterpoint has sort of, leveled off, then maybe we'll get X-Wing back on the docket again. Hopefully.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I mean, I hope so. It's just kind of. I mean, obviously, no game lasts forever, right? Other than Magic, I guess. But it's just kind of sad that, like, gosh, it used to be like such a great game with so many cool ships. I was so excited for it.
Yeah, I
It,
mean,
like,
and
got me back into
I
minis
think
gaming, and now it's just kind of dying.
the thing is like there's still so much potential for there's not new, there's not like a ton of new ships, but I mean, there's always every now and then there's something that could be added to the game. There's there's definitely still, I don't think we're quite there yet, but it would be we getting to the point where especially after like Acolyte comes out, where maybe we could see some High Republic
Yeah.
factions enter into the
For
game.
real, they should be like. I know it would be hard to like build out a whole faction, but it would be really cool to get some of those ships and be like if they were
That's what.
timing it a little closer, like people would be like so excited, like, oh cool, or I would be at least like a Jedi Vector. I would
Yeah,
definitely buy
that's
one
what I
of
was
those
saying. We
and
might
play
we
with
might
it.
need to wait for like I said, we might need to wait for Acolyte before there's enough different stuff out there to where you could make a whole like High Republic sort of faction.
I hope we get them. They still never, they've like
I
basically
mean,
not done anything with Epic even. You know what I mean? They're like, okay, we converted it. Here's the
they
squid
didn't they
chip.
say
We don't
that
care.
Epic is canceled?
Yeah,
That was in the last news thing they put out.
yeah. It's sad that like they don't have someone who's willing to be like,
But
yeah,
at the
let's get
same
some more Epic
time,
stuff.
I mean, even when that was under Fantasy Flight, like Epic was sort of like it existed, but like it never really went anywhere, you know?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just sort of like that just is like AMG continuing the status quo with Epic X-Wing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the 2.0 stuff that they did release for Epic was probably FFG stuff that was already slated, and so I think essentially AMG has done nothing with it themselves.
Yeah.
Just kind of sad.
So I
That would be
will
so fun if I could get
say
some people over and play Epic with it. But oh well. Anyways, yeah, go ahead.
I would guess that you have not played every ship in the game or every combination of ships, and here you are complaining that there's no new stuff. You haven't even played with the stuff you already have.
Yeah, last time I played was before the V Wings and Ada 2 came out. I bought those and have not used them, but yeah, stuff like the clone Z95s just weren't interesting enough to bring me back. The Hot Shots and Aces
What about the
cards weren't
Mandalorian
cool
ship
looking
or
to me.
the Gauntlet?
Yeah, I do not like the Gauntlet personally.
The Gauntlet's a cool ship, and I keep meaning to buy one, but I haven't. Actually, I thought I did, but I can't find it anywhere, so I guess I didn't.
Yeah, I personally have never liked the Gauntlet. I love the Fang. The Fang is very cool, but the Gauntlet is kind
I
of too
love the
big and
Gauntlet.
goofy.
How can you like the Fang but not the Gauntlet? They're like the
The
Fang.
Gauntlet makes more sense of all the ships in Star Wars that have like weird rotating bits. They're the larger ships, like the Gauntlet, like Ahsoka's shuttle, like other things I can't think of.
You know which one always bothered me is the what you call it, Grease's ship.
The Mantis?
Yeah, why does that?
Stinger Mantis.
Yeah, why does that have the like the one arm that goes from the side to the it like I don't know. It's
Because it looks cool.
It definitely doesn't make functional sense. I laugh at it every time you see the ship come in for a landing because it has to like rotate up, then rotate back down, then rotate back up or whatever. It's like very goofy. It does look cool. It
Oh
looks
my
cool
god,
parts, but it doesn't make sense.
give me that ship in X-Wing. That's one of my
Yes,
favorite ships these
please.
days. I love that ship. And I mean, it seems like not for rotating, but for just existing in general, the Big Fin seems like it was a sort of like a waypoint for the player to see how to
Yeah.
get back that would stand out above everything else.
Oh, the Mantis would be so cool. Like that's the thing for me is like they don't it doesn't feel like they have someone who's like, oh, I love all these awesome ships from the recent shows and games. It's like, get these in, that'll get people excited for the game, and they don't seem to be trying to do that unless they're like way out in the pipeline. But it feels like they don't have
They
like a
might
dedicated
be.
X-wing person, I don't think, so it's like they don't have time to be like, let's get these cool ships in here. Like, just hire me to tell you what ships to make or something. Like, it feels like they don't have those resources.
They
I
probably
mean, I know like
don't.
Simone has said she, she's excited for the ships and she likes them. I remember her being really excited for second edition
Yeah, I
when
was
they had
gonna
this
say
ship,
like
we're gonna have these factions, but
yeah,
it
like
doesn't feel like
she
they're
was
still doing
like
that.
super into second edition, like championing it and everything, and so yeah, so
Yeah, right when it was new, but I don't know. It just feels like I don't know.
It'd
They
be
have
a
too
weird
many
game
games,
to like let slip away because it's such like a easy entry game into the hobby for so many people.
Yeah,
I think
and
it's sort of been. I mean, both me and Joe. That's what started us.
that's what got me back in after years away from playing any tabletop games, and it got me back into painting. I hadn't painted stuff in so many years. But I was like, I'm gonna start painting some X-wings and A-wings, and then eventually, more games came out after that, and it had to be such a cash cow for them. But again, I feel like they lost like so much momentum with second edition because their like entire pipeline is like. I mean, again, they had some progress for a while again with the Clone Wars stuff, which was good, but I don't know. At some point, they like really
Yeah, and it
lost the
definitely
plot.
when it launched, it definitely did bring in some new players. But then it wasn't too long after that that we hit COVID, and
Yeah, I think that was an effect too. It's like they never really like picked it back up, and I haven't ever picked it back up after COVID. But it feels like even the people working on it, like I don't know,
well,
they
it
were like,
was what wasn't it the AMG transfer happened mid COVID, didn't it? Or
I don't remember.
was it
Might have been before.
I think it was before, but not
but either way, I
a
think it
ton
was,
before.
both of those things had hit the game hard. We had
Yeah,
the AMG transfer and the COVID thing both kind of both right on top of each other, and it was like, well, at least in me and Kurt's area, that pretty much was the end of the game.
and there's some people playing again now, which is cool to see. It, Seeing people in the store playing it got me like a little interested. I was like, oh, maybe I should think about joining one of these leagues. Um, until I hate to be so pessimistic about it, but I saw them like playing the new missions, and I was like, oh, yeah, these missions seem kind of janky still. I don't know. I
That's
haven't actually played
I
them
haven't
yet.
played them yet. I've heard they're fun, and I've
I bought
been
a bunch
wanting
of like.
to.
I hope they're fun. I guess the main thing is my impression, again, without having played the missions, my impression is that they're like, not really that fine tuned for like balance and for like fun things to do. I don't know. They feel like kind of half baked. They feel like a print and play mission, or you know what I mean? Like, well, I mean they basically are print and play, but
I've been really wanting to play the Battle of Yavin scenario. I bought that a while ago. I haven't played it yet. It
yeah, it'd be
comes
cool
with
to
like
see what
some
that's like.
trench tiles you put down,
Yeah,
and
but like that's not even what we're. I don't.
right. There's just
Yeah,
like
even just the
general
core,
scenario
like
play.
yeah, like does does it work that well to do those missions in a league? Uh, I would love to talk to people about how they thought the league ended up going
Yeah.
locally, but my impression is that those missions don't really work as well for like a competitive thing than to just do like the normal uh original like kill mission. I'm sure they're fun for like a casual match, like come over, let's do this mission, but they don't seem like they're really well tuned for like tournament or league play. I don't know. Again, that's just my kind of gut feel.
Well, this one's the one that I painted initially and was too dark brown, but I
Look,
can't tell a ton of difference between it and the other three, so I'm just gonna leave
yeah,
it.
it's fine.
Yeah.
And I've got all my base colors down on on the snows at least. So I think that's a good place to give her a rest for tonight. And
Got the
though,
base colors
Yeah.
down on Wicket. I'm struggling to get a tone I like for the lighter color on him, but I painted it sort of a really light gray. I'm gonna put a brown wash over it, and maybe that'll be enough, or if I have to highlight it again.
at least they won't be just like pure white on the table for my game tomorrow.
Yeah, I think that looks really good for table. I also got base colors done on my Grievous. I don't know if I like it. I guess that's how it always goes.
That's how the base color always goes. Then once you do the
Yeah.
shades and highlights, then it.
Hopefully it'll look cooler.
All right.
It's very different from normal Grievous, which
Oh,
I don't
in
know.
what way?
Mm.
Are you gonna leave us?
Well,
in
because
suspense?
I tried to do this. I tried to do Bedlam Raider colors on him, like I've done on other droids. So he's all red and silver, and not much
Ooh.
else. And I don't know. Maybe it's too much. Maybe it's too much.
Mm.
But I'm committed now. I'm not going to be able to undo it.
So, any parting thoughts from you guys before I end the stream?
No. Thanks everybody who showed up
Just-
in the chat or showed up to watch.
I think the only thing I'll say is that that Inquisitor is Ezra. It was a big twist in today's episode. I really loved that.
I knew it. I knew it.
You can tell. You can tell the first time he shows up. If you pay attention, you can see his lightsaber, and
Yep. And he's he
it's
tells
all by his
everybody that
statements. He was trained by Kanan.
it was when it really gave it away when Ahsoka asked him what his name was, and he said that he was Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys